Charleston, 1845. The Butler family drawing room echoed with the sharp sound of expertly shuffled cards. Rhett, 19 years old, watched his father arrange the game on the mahogany table, the same table where so many fortunes had changed hands over the years. "My boy," declared old Butler, adjusting his cufflinks, "it's time you understood that life is nothing but a permanent poker game. The difference between a gentleman and an adventurer is that the gentleman knows when to fold, and the adventurer knows when to double down." Rhett smiled, that crooked smile that would become his signature. "And which am I supposed to be, father?" "That, my son, remains to be determined." This conversation marked the beginning of Rhett Butler's true education. For while the military academy had taught him discipline and good manners, it was in Charleston's gambling dens that he would learn about human nature. Rhett's first nocturnal outings brought him to establishments that ladies of good society never mentioned, not even in whispers. There, under flickering oil lamps, he discovered that money had no smell, but fear did, acrid and revealing. He learned to read faces like others read newspapers, that imperceptible tension that betrayed a bluff, that glint in the eye that announced an exceptional hand, that way of holding cards that revealed amateur from professional. One March evening, as driving rain lashed the windows of the Sailor's Rest, Rhett made the acquaintance of Belle Watling. She was then just a young woman with tired eyes who served drinks, but she possessed that practical intelligence Rhett respected above all else. "You play well for a young man of good family," she told him while filling his glass. "But you still play with your heart. That's dangerous." "And you, Belle, what do you play with?" "With my head, always with my head. The heart is a luxury people like me can't afford." This phrase remained engraved in Rhett's mind. He understood that night that Belle and he were voluntary exiles from their own social class, each having chosen authenticity over Charleston's gilded hypocrisy. The months that followed saw Rhett perfect his art. He learned to drink without ever being drunk, to smile without ever revealing his thoughts, to charm without ever becoming attached. His gambling winnings allowed him to acquire an impeccable wardrobe and even more refined manners, creating the paradox that would characterize him all his life, a gentleman rogue, an aristocrat adventurer. But it was during a particularly tense game in June 1846 that Rhett made the discovery that would definitively shape his worldview. His opponent, a respectable planter from Savannah, had just lost his last plantation on a failed bluff. The man, ruined, rose with dignity. "Mr. Butler," he said, extending his hand, "you won fairly. May I ask how you knew I was bluffing?" Rhett, touched by this elegance in defeat, replied with unusual sincerity, "Mr. Morrison, you did exactly what I would have done in your place. That's precisely why I knew you were lying." That night, walking home under Charleston's magnolias, Rhett understood a fundamental truth: knowing others means first knowing yourself. And knowing yourself means accepting your own contradictions. He discovered himself capable of secret generosity. He had discreetly arranged for Morrison to recover his family home, while cultivating a reputation for absolute cynicism. He could be exquisitely courteous with respectable ladies while preferring the frank company of women of ill repute. He respected the rules of the game while despising those who had established them. Summer 1847 marked a turning point. Rhett was now 21 with a sulphurous but respected reputation throughout the South. Family fathers feared him, their wives found him fascinating, and their daughters. Well, their daughters secretly dreamed of taming this elusive cavalier. It was at this time that he developed his personal philosophy, a sort of code of honor adapted to his complex nature. He would never lie to a woman about his feelings, or rather about their absence. He would never cheat at cards, but would use every advantage his intelligence and insight gave him. He would help those in need, but never admit it publicly. Reputation, he confided to Belle one day, is what others think of you. Character is what you are when no one is watching. I prefer to control the first and preserve the second. Belle laughed, with that hoarse laugh that was peculiar to her. Rhett BUTLER, you're the most honest liar I know. And perhaps that was Rhett's secret. In a world of polite hypocrisy, he had chosen to be authentically ambiguous. He didn't pretend to be better than he was, but he also refused to be worse than necessary. When, a few years later, he would meet a certain Scarlett O'Hara at a barbecue at the Wilkes, Rhett BUTLER had already become the man he would remain, a gambler who knew the value of every card, a cynic capable of tenderness, a realist who kept, buried somewhere, a romantic heart. After all, only a true romantic can become such an accomplished cynic. And only a true gentleman can afford to be a perfect scoundrel. The cards were dealt. The game could begin.